The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Hey there, Chinlock Nation. This is your pal Broadzilla, here to share my experience of Chinlock Wrestling's coolest show of the summer, Chinlock's Meltdown at the Odessa Fair Grounds in Ontario. But before I get started, I want to give a few shoutouts. Do you need a logo or design for a special event, posters, album covers? Are you a young up-and-coming pro wrestling personality who's just dropping their very first piece of merch, which is now available for pre-order? Anything you can imagine, Jason Reese at Jaybird Digital Arts can turn your dreams into a reality. For more information, check out Jaybird Digital Arts on your favorite social media platform. Also, majority of the photos you'll be seeing today are courtesy of TJ Champagne Photography. Whether your photography needs are personal, promotional, or you just need some quality pics for a special social event, or maybe you're a young up-and-coming pro wrestling personality who needs a good pic to launch their first piece of merch. Available for pre-order now. Why buy shots when you can have champagne? Check out TJ Champagne Photography on your favorite social media platform for more details. And last but not least, thank you to the crew at Your TV Kingston for helping take another Stack Chinlock show to the next level and for making it available for the fans who couldn't be in attendance. Now, let's get this thing started. The show opens up with a debut at the commentary table as Mike Swindley welcomes fans to Chinlock Meltdown. Mike then hands it over to the voice of Chinlock Wrestling, the ever-eloquent Sideshow, as he expresses his gratitude to the fans in attendance for being able to put on a wrestling show just down the road from his childhood home. Sideshow, however, is quickly interrupted by the anti-authority faction known as the Era, led by Chinlock heavyweight champion Ray St. John. Now, the Era has been causing a lot of problems for Chinlock management over the past calendar year, most recently partaking in the beatdown of Chinlock CEO Jan Murphy. Enter Jan Murphy. Murphy's had enough of the Era and their antics, and vows to make their lives extremely difficult by forcing both St. John and Dino Benjamin, accompanied by his associate Chaz Lovely, to put their titles on the line. Also announcing that the match between the Vanna Black and Tarek would open the show, cueing Tarek's music. Now, the match between Tarek and Black was his semi-final match to help determine the number one contender for Ray St. John's Chinlock Heavyweight Championship, with the winner going on to face the Vagabond Ryan Rogan at a future event. And folks, this match helped set the pace for the rest of the evening. In my opinion, both of these athletes are the total package and they're both destined for very big things. There's plenty of back and forth in this match, a great mix of both technical and hard-hitting action, but when all was said and done, it was Mr. Punch, Kick, Chop, Tarek, who found himself moving on to the finals of the number one contender tournament. Up next, what was originally scheduled to be a tag team match turned into a singles competition when it was learned that the team of Max Carnage and Alexei Oromov viciously attacked their opponents prior to their bout. Oromov seemed hesitant to engage the deranged Max Carnage, and for good reason. Max Carnage is a psychopath who thrives off the pain of others. But it was Oromov who picked up the 1, 2, 3 while illegally using the ropes for leverage. Possibly a move he learned in the old country. This loss infuriated Carnage, and with Chinlock's Trick or Treat announced for October 19th, we're going to see a whole new level of psychotic, demented behavior from Max leading into the Halloween season. Next up on the card, we saw the Era's Dino Benjamin, accompanied by his associate, the charming Chaz Lovely, defend his coveted Cale Murphy Memorial Championship against not one, but two opponents, and the team of former champ Danny Franchise and Geriatric. For the better part of this match, Dino heavy-handedly orchestrated the dismantling of Franchise, as Jerry somehow got lost on his way to the ring. Somebody's gotta give this guy a treasure map. The ever-entertaining Franchise refused to go down without a fight, and just as all hope seemed to be lost, Jerry found his way to the ring, waited in his corner for a completely unnecessary hot tag, and contributed in a 2-on-1 beatdown of the Cale Murphy Memorial Champion. With his associate Chaz Lovely removed from ringside for outside interference, the odds were not in Benjamin's favor as he found himself on the losing side of a double pin, crowning both Danny Franchise and Geriatric the new co-holders of the Cale Murphy Memorial Championship. Can't wait to see how this one plays out. The next contest was a fatal four-way match featuring two former Chinlock heavyweight champions, a match filled with promise that did not fail to deliver. Former champions Sam Kelly and Bia Moss squared off against the Queen Cobra Katrina Creed and Unit 5-3 and 741, the soldier known as Sental. This match was non-stop action from start to finish, and it really showcased the strength and diversity of Chinlock's women's division. A division that some would argue is due for their own championship. At any given moment, it felt like any of these women could have walked away with the victory, but in the end, it was former champ Bia Moss who would have her hand raised, picking up the win over three very worthy opponents. This next match hits a little different for multiple reasons. I've been following both of these guys for the past several years. I've seen the good boy Jack Russell evolve into the fan favorite he is today, and if you scroll back to the beginning of my timeline, you'll get a taste of the love-hate relationship I've had with CJ Felony over the past 5 years. As difficult as it has been watching CJ fall back into his felonious ways, experiencing vintage felony in person is now something I can cross off my bucket list. It was student versus teacher, as the good boy Jack Russell and CJ Felony beat the living out of each other in a dog collar match. Both competitors used everything and anything they could find to inflict the most amount of damage they could to their opponent. There was a garbage can filled with goodies, there was a steel chair, there were thumbtacks, and the chain itself connecting the two competitors was constantly used as a weapon during the match. Both competitors were leaving it all in the ring, but at the end of the day there could only be one winner. It was the good boy Jack Russell forcing a submission on CJ Felony, picking up the win over his former teammate and teacher. And folks, I wish this story had a happy ending. Shortly after his victory, Jack Russell was attacked by a mystery man who we've now come to know as Deacon Mays. His intentions are still unclear, but one thing's for certain. Aligning himself with someone the likes of CJ Felony can only mean bad news for the Chinlock locker room and management team. But more on that later. Also, I'd like to wish a speedy recovery to the good boy Jack Russell. Hope to see you back in the ring real soon. After a brief intermission, fans were welcomed back to the action by the voice of Chinlock Wrestling's Sideshow, as he once again expressed his gratitude for being able to put on a wrestling show in the community he grew up in, thanking fans, friends, and family, including his young daughters in attendance. He then called Chinlock Heavyweight Champion Ray St. John to the ring, who was once again accompanied by his group, The Era. St. John was incentivized to defend his Chinlock Heavyweight Championship when Chinlock CEO Jan Murphy allowed him to choose his opponent from any wrestler on the roster. Unfortunately, that plan had backfired, as when it came time to choose his opponent, St. John chose someone who hadn't competed in a Chinlock ring since Chinlock for Charity last September, a competitor who was in the Chinlock Rumble. That competitor was none other than Sideshow himself. In one of the shortest matches in Chinlock wrestling history, St. John promptly hit Sideshow with a clothesline, triggering an immediate reaction of sheer horror from his children watching. And if that wasn't enough, St. John then stomped his down opponent and proceeded to climb the turnbuckle. With the screams of Sideshow's daughters echoing throughout the event center, St. John then delivered an elbow drop and collected the 1-2-3 to retain his Chinlock World Heavyweight Championship. Up next, in a grudge match between two of North America's top independent wrestling talents, we saw the vagabond Ryan Rogan square off against Carter Mason. Now, Mason, looking to gain the upper hand, attacked Rogan from behind with a chair and targeted his knee in a pre-match beatdown. Once the referee had restored order, it was no surprise that Carter Mason had the early advantage. Despite the pre-match beatdown, this match had everything. It was hard-hitting, it was technical, it was a great match from both competitors, but Mason just couldn't find a way to keep Rogan down. And as the ref's back was turned, Mason grabbed the chain he wore to the ring from his corner. Now this wasn't your standard dinky little chain. This was a solid 24-karat gold linked chain neckwear with a medallion the size of a hubcap. Now this bad boy definitely would have ended the match immediately had Mason been able to use it. As Mason raised the chain over his head, a virtuous, brave, handsome young ring announcer hopped onto the ring apron in an attempt to intervene. This attempt backfired, however, as I may or may not have myself, and with the referee distracted with the weapon in my hands, that allowed Carter Mason to hit Rogan with a low blow. Yup. Right in the cash and prizes. I say cash and prizes because not only did Mason catch him in the being a scantily clad vagabond, that's where Rogan keeps his cash and most valued items. And as Mason lined up a super kick for the finish, Rogan countered with a devastating DDT, collecting both the pinfall and some spare change from the audience in attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, freaks of all ages, this next match was a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Chinlock Tag Team Championships between not one, but two fan-favorite teams, when the challengers, the Hellraisers, Pain and Misery, squared off against the reigning champs, Sideshow Jack and Madman Taylor, Freak Nation. Fun fact, prior to this bout beginning, I became the officially unofficial third member of the Hellraisers, as I was anointed the Hellraisers chain by Pain himself, which is also the image used for this sweet tea. Pre-orders available now. Come on, go get one. You know you want one. We got plenty of sizes. We got one color, but we got plenty of sizes. Go get one. DM me. I'll hook you up. I know your mom wants one. Folks, this wasn't the first time these two teams have met, and it most certainly will not be the last, as throughout their history, they always seem to have some unfinished business to tend to, and this match was no different. It was brutal, vicious, borderline inhumane. Everything you'd expect from these two teams. Tag team wrestling at its finest, leading to the first fall of the contest as Freak Nation would go up by 1. As the match would progress, Sideshow Jack would be taken out in the backstage area, giving the Hellraisers the opportunity to double team Madman Taylor and pick up the second fall of the contest, tying things up at 1 fall apiece. Eventually, Sideshow Jack would find his way back to the ring, but momentum had already swung too far in favor of the Hellraisers as they would pick up the third and final fall of the contest, becoming your new Chinlock Tag Team Champions. Now remember what I said about unfinished business? Sideshow Jack would then address the long storied history between the two teams as they were face to face in the ring after their match. And what was first believed to be a sign of respect for the new champs ended with Jack saying that it was time for a change, which cued an obvious premeditated attack from CJ Felony and Deacon Mays as they attacked the Hellraisers from behind with steel chairs. Freak Nation then joined in on the beatdown of Pain and Misery as Chinlock officials flooded the ring trying to de-escalate the situation. A situation so heated that even fans in attendance needed to be restrained. And if the post-match beatdown wasn't enough, these four hooligans stole the Chinlock Tag Team Championships and fled the scene in the Black Silverado. With all this uncertainty, I can promise you one thing. The Hellraisers are about to take this feud to the next level and will stop at nothing to get their Chinlock Tag Team Championships back. Just when you couldn't imagine the night getting any more entertaining, it was time for the main event. These two men are no strangers to Chinlock wrestling or high-profile main event caliber matches. Their resumes filled with both prestige and accomplishment. One of these men, a powerhouse with roots to an amazing amateur wrestling background and career, an international superstar. The other, a lifelong pro wrestling fan who trained under the umbrella of Seth frickin' Rollins at the Black and Brave Wrestling Academy, who's thrived as a member of the CAW's West Coast Heavies with multiple trophies and championships to his credit. It was now time for the natural Nick Sullivan to go toe-to-toe with the main attraction, Sean Murphy. And these two did not disappoint. It was obvious from the opening bell that the hometown hero Sean Murphy had the crowd behind him as he and Nick Sullivan locked horns at the beginning of the match. However, it was Sullivan who took an early advantage as Murphy made the mistake of trying to match power with the natural. That's like trying to match power with a grizzly bear. This early advantage would come back to bite Sullivan in the butt, as it seemed as though he was toying with Murphy with some soft pin attempts and interacting with pro-Murphy fans in the audience rather than capitalizing on his downed opponent. In my opinion, Sullivan definitely underestimated the will and resiliency of the main attraction. Murphy would then take advantage of one of Sullivan's fan interactions, delivering a powerbomb that shook the entire fairground. These two swapped blows, chops, they exchanged moves back and forth. This one could have gone either way, but in the end, it was the energy provided by the hometown crowd that helped Murphy deliver a pedigree to Sullivan, having the main attraction capture the W in the main event of an amazing show. One of the things I love most about Chinlock Wrestling is the evolution of the company. Every time Chinlock Wrestling puts on a show, the fans are getting the best it has to offer, and what it has to offer is always just a little bit better than what it was before. From start to finish, this card was stacked. Easily one of, if not my favorite Chinlock shows to date, which brings me to another thing I really enjoy about Chinlock Wrestling, the people. It takes a lot of effort to make a show like this successful. The talent, the management, the helping hands, the Chinlock family. But most importantly, you guys, the fans, the Chinlock Nation. So thank you all for making every show something special. Another quick shout out to Jaybird Digital Arts, TJ Champagne Photography, and Your TV Kingston. Thank you all for your contribution. Also, mark your calendars, Chinlock Nation, because Chinlock Wrestling is coming back to Kingston when Templeman LLP presents Chinlock's Trick or Treat on October 19th at the BGC Southeast. All your favorite Chinlock superstars will be in attendance, and hopefully we'll get some answers to some questions left unanswered at Chinlock's Meltdown. Tickets are on sale now. Check out Chinlock Wrestling on social media for more information, and stay tuned to your pal Broadzilla for more information as we get a little closer to the event. That's all from me, wrestling fans. Thanks for stopping by my Chinlock Meltdown review. Help support local wrestling talent. Buy their t-shirts. Make someone's dream come true. I'm Broadzilla. See you soon, wrestling fans.